as well, Travis. Why? No, Travis. What's your step? You're not getting any younger. What's your step? Right. You're on next. Not now. Next. Not now. Next. 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 Fine. I didn't know that was going to happen, but there you go. You can't get the step. All right, what's your step? Right, so, here we go. I'm going to pass this microphone to the person who is first out for the questions. How many of... Now, because this is an old series, have you ever seen the programme Mastermind? I have. And you, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm not a sir, I'm just an honorary person. I haven't had my brain removed, I was never an officer. Okay? Have you seen Mastermind? Colin?
Yeah.
Right, I do know Colin, but he's not a full-time researcher, so he's legitimate. Okay, now, for the rules of Mastermind, first of all, we should have the music! Thank you, Colin. Has the tension level gone up a little bit now here in that way? You'll certainly find it. Right, the first person, Colin Holmfirth, take the black chair. Now be careful, we're on the front of the stage, I don't want you doing a swan dance. Right, can we have a round of applause for this, please? Right, now, in all seriousness, that's the joking aside, because the questions are serious, in the sense of they're not easy questions. If you know your stuff, you will get the majority of these right. If you don't, you won't. Now, one of the things that came from last year is, when I did it, we did it the official rules of pass and whatever, and at the end, when I asked for some feedback, they said, well, the questions that they passed, we want to know the answers. In a sense, we want to learn things. So I will be giving the answer to all questions. All right? So they're pretty quick. Now, the format that it will take, it's a bit bright up here, isn't it now? You see, you didn't realise you're in the spotlight now. Right? Is there's going to be 15 questions per contestant in round 1. And then we'll have a break and see who's the leader. And then we'll have 10 questions. Or depending on time, because I don't know how it's going to pan out, we've set aside an hour for this. Maybe 5 questions, we'll just see. Alright? But hopefully it'll be 15 in the first round, 10 in the second. And then we have to have some tie questions. Because Ben, who won it last year, went to about 10 tie questions.
Ben didn't win it!
Say that again. Andy Young won it, sorry, I apologise. Andy Young won it last year. Right, no talking in the audience now. As we will never get this going. Right, Colin Holmfirth, in all seriousness, no shouting out, because that totally defeats the object. There's a lovely trophy there behind. I want this to become quite prestigious because it's not the jokey subject. You don't see me with UFO balloons and alien heads and whatever. That's my detective background. I want to draw serious nature with serious questions. So whilst we're having a bit of a laugh, we now go into serious time. So he's getting 50, he's not getting 10 minutes, he's getting the 15 questions. So no shouting out, please, as you'll totally destroy the illusion. Is that fair? Right, thank you. Right, so, now I mean this, I will not be impressed if somebody shouts out, because it's not a joke. There's no point in doing it, seriously, if we couldn't shout out. Does that make sense?
Yes, Golf.
Right, I'm now going to give Colin the microphone.
Thank you, Gary.
And I will use the...
Oh boy.
You're not allowed to talk, we say, oh boy. Right, here we go, in all seriousness. In what year was Operation Mainbrace?
That's a tough question. I'm not actually sure, but I'll guess 1950.
Incorrect, 1952. After Project Sign, what was the next project changed to? From project signed, it changed to? Fast answer, also.
Project Grudge.
Correct. Well done.
Tell me what I knew.
In what year was the famous New York blackout, which is related to UFOs, or believed to relate to UFOs?
Was it 1942?
Incorrect. 1965.
Or New York? Okay, I figured all Los Angeles.
Which actor played the main lead, i.e. the principal witness, who was drawn to go to the top of the mountain in Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Who was the actor?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Correct. Who wrote the book Intruders?
That was Bud Hopkins.
Correct. Who wrote the book Passport to Magonia?
That would have been Jack Valet.
Well done. Well done. Good question. Right. What was the real name of the famous UFO author of the 60s predominantly, who was known as Earl of Clancarty?
It's not Lord Mountbatten, was it? No.
No, Brinsley Le Portrange. Okay, so incorrect. In what country is Project Hestarland based?
No, it's Scandinavia, is it? I think it's... I'm going to go for Norway.
Correct. Who in 1954 said, "These objects are concerned and directed by intelligent beings of a very high order"? He was a famous rocket scientist. Who said that? I must take your answer quickly.
I'll have to pass on that one, I'm afraid.
Well, the answer is Herman Oberth. So incorrect. What does the acronym APRO stand for? And I need it exactly.
Well, I'm not sure I can give it exactly. I'd go for APRO. Aerial Phenomenal.
Must have your answer quickly.
Aerial Phenomenal Registry Organisation.
You started right. Aerial Phenomena Research Association, but you got the last two words wrong. Incorrect. Which organisation compiled Special Report number 14?
Organisation.
Must have your answer quickly.
CIA. The CIA.
Incorrect. The answer was the Battelle Memorial Institute, based in Ohio. What was the name of the real-life person who filmed a famous UFO sequence on cinefilm over Tremonton in 1952? It's one of the most world-famous UFO sequences, moving images sequences, in 1952. What's the name of the person who took the footage?
Where was it, did you say, sorry?
Is in Tremonton, Ohio. Oh, Tremonton, Utah, I believe it is. If that makes a difference. Must have your answer?
No, I'm going to pass that. Sorry.
Okay, that's Delbert Newhouse, who was a warrant officer, no less, in the military. What famous UFO researcher is believed, who put forward the first theory of orthotony?
Photony.
Orthotony.
Orthotony. UFO researcher, sorry, you say?
Sorry?
What was it? So it was a question again?
What was the name of the famous UFO researcher who proposed the theory of orthotony? Must take your answer quickly. Because the repeating tactic didn't work.
No. I'll go for Jack Valet again.
Not Jacques Vallée, and it was Aimé Michel from France in the 50s, and it basically is to do with straight line, ley lines, and that kind of thing. Okay?
Yeah.
What is the name of Italy's most famous UFO researcher?
Maurizio Beata, that's the only one I know.
The most popular and most well-known, going back to the 1960s, is Roberto Panotti, who actually spoke at this conference a couple of years ago.
Excuse them.
Right, and our final question of 15. What was the name of the person, the first name, the Christian name, or first name if you're religious, of the person who was in charge of the Condon Committee report? It was Dr.
Edward.
Correct. Ooh. Right, at the end of the first round, wait. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 correct answers. Please take your seat, thank you. Take your seat, please. Pass the microphone to our next contestant. Is it okay? Thank you. And your name, please?
Danny Taylor.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm head of systems.
Sorry, say again?
Head of systems. So
You've
like
had
IT.
syphilis? Sorry?
IT.
Sorry, say that again.
IT.
Thank you very much. Are you ready for your questions? Back to serious now. I do the jokes, not you. Right, contestant number 2. 15 questions, no shouting. In what year was the famous Cosford incident?
Can you repeat that?
This repeating question. In what year was the famous Cosford incident?
Cosford. 1952.
Incorrect. 1993. And indeed the month and the year of the famous Roswell incident. The month and the year.
March 47.
Close. You needed all of it. It's July 47, so incorrect. A good try. Name the famous Gemini astronaut who openly spoke out in the reality of UFOs. What's his name? Former astronaut. I need an answer quickly.
Gene Cernan.
No. Incorrect. Gordon Cooper. Name the famous United States incident that occurred on December the 29th, 1980. United States it occurred in. What were the name of the 2 people involved in a very famous sighting just after the Rendlesham incident, or around the same time? It involved 2 ladies. What were their names? I need an answer quickly.
Was it the Andreasen affair?
No, that's, you're thinking of Betty Andreasen and an abductee. No, it was Betty Cash and Vicky Landry. Incorrect. In what year was the famous Bentwaters / Lakenheath sighting? Not to be confused with the latter Rendlesham Forest incident. What year was the famous Bentwaters and Lakenheath pilot sighting?
1956.
Well done, correct. Who wrote the book Communion?
Whitley Strieber.
Correct. Who wrote Flying Saucers from Outer Space?
Major Donald Kehoe.
Correct. You're on a roll. What is the name of the forester who has been linked to the Rendlesham Forest incident?
No, pass.
Vince Thurkettle. Incorrect. What is the name of the pilot who died in a chase of a UFO in 1948?
Captain Thomas Mantell.
Correct. What profession did Alan Godfrey hold when he had his classic close encounter in November 1980? What was his job?
He was a policeman.
Correct. What does the acronym BUFORA stand for? And I must have it exact. BUFORA.
British UFO Research Association.
Well done. Correct. What was the name of the long-serving editor of the classic magazine Flying Saucer Review?
No, pass.
Gordon Creighton. What prominent senior military official openly supported the Rendlesham Forest incident before his death? A very prominent military figure supported, not Colonel Holt, somebody much higher, which prominent British senior military official openly supported the validity of the Rendlesham Forest incident? I need an answer.
Yeah, I know it is. I just can't think of it. I'll have to pass.
Lord of the Fleet, Admiral Hilnor. What was the name of the public information officer who issued the classic Roswell press release, which said initially that the US Air Force had recovered a flying crash disc?
Was it General Ramey?
No, it was Lieutenant Walter Holt. Holt. H-A-U-T. And your final question. What is the name of the highway inspector who took a series of now famous UFO photographs in a sequence in 1965? I need an answer. It's a classic set of photographs from the mid-1960s that there is still some debate about, but it's the name of the person who took the photographs.
No, I'll pass.
Rex Heflin. Okay? And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have scored 10 correct answers. Appreciate your team. Well done.
I tell you, Gary, I'm not very good with names and dates, so this might not go very well.
Do I have sympathy? This will teach you to volunteer. Right, in all seriousness, good luck. Contestant number 3. Your questions start now. In what year were the citizens' hearings?
2012.
Incorrect, 2013. Kenneth Arnold's seminal sighting occurred in what year and month? Kenneth Arnold.
1947, July, June.
Too late. Got to take your first answer. You've been very close, but each one. Right, question number 3. Which astronaut described seeing fireflies in space?
Oh, he was the first astronaut to go up, wasn't he? American. Can't remember his name. Pass.
Glenn. Isn't it? Okay, incorrect. In what year was the famous and most famous abduction story, except for Travis Walton's Barney and Betty Hill? Abduction in
61.
Correct. Well done. And here's a go. Who famously played Barney Hill from the same case in a 1975 TV movie? Which actor played Barney Hill in a little scene TV movie about the Barney and Betty case? Very famous actor.
Shamefully, I haven't actually seen it, to be honest.
It's there, it's out on YouTube. Need an answer?
Pass.
The answer is James Earl Jones,
Didn't know that.
from Roots and things like that. Right? Who wrote the classic book, Flying Saucers, Serious Business?
Richard Dolan.
No, it was written in the 60s, it was Frank Edwards. Okay? Incorrect. Who wrote the book, UFOs and Generals? A more recent book.
UFOs and Generals.
UFOs and Generals.
Pass.
Leslie Cairn. Who is generally regarded as creating the UFO classification system, i.e. close encounter of the first kind, second kind? What's the name of the person?
Hein Garrick, is that his name? Hein Garrick?
Derek.
Garrick. Hein.
I need more than that, it needs to be accurate. We're running out of time. J. Allen Hynek. Okay. In what year was the famous Mansfield, Ohio helicopter sighting involving Captain Coyne? In what year?
1983.
Incorrect. 1973. Name the person who is widely regarded as the father of the ancient aliens concept and is just celebrating his 50th anniversary of the release of his seminal book.
I know it is, I'm trying to think of his name.
Need an answer?
He's very short. Hang on, wait, just give me a second.
Very short, I can't tell you. Time's running out. You see him all the time?
I know.
Eric von Daniken, incorrect. Alright. An acronym for you as well? You're going to like this one. What does NICAP, N-I-C-A-P, stand for? I need all.
It's National Information Informative.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
It's the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomena. A very famous group set up by Major Donald Keyhoe. Okay, incorrect. Question 12. What is the name of the classic 1955, oh, right, I didn't give, that's not the answer, no. What is the name, easy done, what is the name of the classic 1950s sci-fi film effectively dealing with official alien contact? It's a classic.
Lady Earth Stood Still.
Correct. Well done. Right, what was the name given to UFO reports seen by pilots during World War II?
Foo Fighters.
Correct. You're on a roll. Right? Which First World War flying ace is alleged to have had an encounter, an aerial encounter with a UFO?
World War I. Pass.
Baron von Richthofen. What is, the final question, what is the name given to the French report onto UFOs that's very famous? It's just a single word I'm looking for.
Say again?
It's a single word for the report, like the Smith report or the something report.
Can't remember.
Cometer report. Incorrect. At the end of your round, you have scored 1, 2, 3 correct answers. Please take your seat. Thank you very much. Round of applause. And your name, sir?
Tony Ward?
Tony Ward. You're looking very confident there. Are you feeling confident?
Not really.
Okay, here we go. Here's your questions. Question number 1. In what year did Project Sign begin?
56.
Incorrect, 1948. What is the missing word in the title of the report, Estimate of the
Situation.
Correct. Where they first said that they concluded it was interplanetary in 1948. Right? Name the read my own writing here. Right? Who in history in 1917? Well, right, yeah. Here we go. Which? When you rush these questions, right? Which historical event, a world famous event, occurred in 1917? Religious event that is widely regarded to be UFO related.
Is it something to do with Fatima? Or
Correct.
something?
I'll accept that. Well done. What year was the main year for the green fireballs phenomenon? There was one year which they peaked.
52.
Incorrect, 1946. Who wrote the report? Who wrote the book, the report on unidentified flying objects, which is essentially where we got the word UFO from. What was the name of the author?
Jack Valley?
Captain Edward Ruppel, incorrect. Who wrote the book AD Disclosure? And I need...
Richard Dolan.
And? You need the full answer of both authors to get this question right.
Richard, is it Bryce Zabel?
Well done. There you go. Correct. Who wrote the book Men in Black?
Nick Redfern.
I was going to say him up there, that one. Nick Redfern, you said the name. Well done. What does DE8, what does DE stand for in relation to British records and departments who studied UFOs? What does the letters DE or DES stand for? DES.
Don't know.
Defence Secretariat. Okay. In November 1971, in Delphos, Kansas, there was a classic alleged landing of a craft that left trace evidence, which became known popularly as the...
Is it the Lonnie Zamora case?
No, it's a sighting with a circular pattern on the ground that stayed kind of illuminated for a while. The Delphos Ring. Okay, incorrect. An acronym for you as well, you don't get away from it as well. What does the acronym QFOS, C-U-F-O-S, stand for? I need it exactly right.
Was it? Sorry, what was it again? Go.
C-U-F-O-S. QFOS.
Centre for UFO Searches. Don't know.
Failed on the last word, studies. Incorrect. So it's the Centre for UFO Studies set up by JLNI. Okay. Question 12. What is the name of the senior British officer who stated in the press that flying saucers were interplanetary? A British famous military officer in 1954 made a statement in the Sunday Dispatch saying that flying saucers were interplanetary. The name of that person is?
Winston Churchill?
No, Lord Dowding. Okay? Very famous quote. In UFO terminology, what does the letters EM stand for? What do EM cases refer to?
Electromagnetic?
Correct. What does the acronym ETH stand for?
Extraterrestrial hypothesis.
Correct. UFOs seen at low altitude are often described by witnesses as moving at slow speed in a certain kind of motion.
Oscillating? Skipping?
Falling leaf.
Oh, okay.
Falling leaf. Incorrect. And so, at the end of your round, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 correct. Please take your seats. Thank you very much. End of first round. Let's look at the scores on the doors. Contestant number 1 scored 8 out of 15. Contestant number 2 scored 10 out of 15. Contestant number 3 scored 3 out of 15. And contestant number 4 scored 6 out of 15. We now move into round 2. Right, contestant number 1, please take your seat. In the chair, pass the microphone on. No pressure. Are you sitting comfortably? Here we go. Question number 1. In what year was the famous French wave very large number of sightings occurred in France in one particular year, or peaked in 1 year.
1979.
1954, incorrect. What is the name of the astronomer who was attached to Project Blue Book for many years? Need an answer?
Yeah. Carl Sagan.
J. Allen Hynek, incorrect. Professor John Mack was based at which university?
Harvard.
Correct. What was the name of the base commander at RAF Bentwaters and Woodbridge at the time of the Rendlesham Forest incident? The base commander,
Yeah, the base
not
commander.
the deputy
Yeah.
base commander.
Was it a W?
Need an answer?
Winters? No, not that one.
No, Gordon Williams, Colonel Gordon Williams.
it was a
of the
W.
General. Incorrect. Right. What is the name of the place famous for Kenneth Arnold's sighting of the pilot took place in 47? In which state did it take place?
Washington State.
Correct. How many UFO books did Major Donald Kehoe write?
I'll go for 2.
5. In which year did former US President Jimmy Carter have a sighting that he reported publicly?
I think it would be about 74.
1969, with many others. What is the name given to clouds that that appear to look like UFOs? There's a particular name given to this type of cloud shape.
Is it not lenticular?
It is lenticular, well done. Final question. I'm actually only going to do 9 in this because I think we're going to get right. So each of you will get 9 in the second round. What is the name of the pilot involved, the main pilot, there's a number of pilots, but the main pilot involved in the famous Tehran incident? I'll even give you the year, 1976.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
He's been on video, he speaks English, broken English, very famous pilot.
I'm going to pass on that one, I'm afraid.
Incorrect, Parvez Jafari. Okay, so at the end of that round of 9 questions, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 questions, right? 5 questions, right? So when we add that to your score, so that's 8 plus 5, giving a total of 13. Please take your seat. Thank you very much. Contestant number 2, are you sitting comfortably? Got away from you, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. In what year was the famous Belgium F-16 pilot sighting?
1989.
1990. Okay. Incorrect. What scientific background was Dr. Edward Condon? What was his background? His science, what was it? He did it in
Nuclear physics.
He was a physicist, I'll give you that. No, so correct. In what year was the famous Kecksburg incident?
1967.
1965, incorrect. What was the name of the farmer who discovered, or the rancher who discovered the Roswell debris field and alerted the military authorities. What was his name?
So, Mac Brazel.
Correct. What was the name of the Scottish forester involved in the famous Livingston incident?
No, pass.
That was Robert Taylor, okay, not the actor. What was the name of the 1957 South American abductee? Even before Barney and Betty, there was somebody who claimed to have been abducted. It's a very famous case. His name is?
Is it Antonio Valderas?
Close, it's Antonio Villabois. Incorrect. Close. Now. I've started, so finished. Now. What does the acronym... Alright, in fact, it's not... The acronym NARCAP is involved in the study of what? NARCAP is an organisation which studies what? Need an answer?
Nighttime UFO sighting.
Pilot reports, Gerald Haynes set it up and it studies pilot reports. Very good. Okay, so incorrect. What was the name given to the V-shaped series of lights that was photographed in 1951? It became a very famous V-shaped series of spheres that were captured in a V, very famous photograph, and they became known as the
Delta sightings.
the Lubbock lights. Incorrect. What was the name of the United States police officer involved in the famous 1964 Socorro incident?
So, Lonnie Zamora.
Correct. Final question. Name the person who runs the Norwegian Hestalen project.
No, pass.
Erling Strand. Okay, so at the end of the second round you have 1, 2, 3. 3 questions correct. Added to your score, which was 10. 10 plus 3, 13. So we have a tie at the moment. Please take your seat. This is where you come back strongly.
As long as there's no names or dates, it should be alright.
I have every confidence in you. Are you ready? Question number 1 of 9. In what year was the famous Japan Airlines encounter?
1976.
86. In what year was the famous CIA commissioned Robertson panel?
Repeat the question, please.
In what year there was a famous research project into UFOs allegedly, but it turned out to be commissioned by the CIA, and the name of the panel was, it's under somebody's name, like the Smith panel.
I can't remember.
The Robertson panel, 1953, incorrect. Who in 1952 wrote a famous memo asking, this is a British memo, asking the Ministry of Defence, flying saucers, what's this all about? Which famous politician wrote that?
A politician or a president?
Politician, it's British.
British.
It's a British person who made a very famous memo. What UFOs, what's it all about? What's the name of the politician?
Winston Churchill.
Correct. Well done. Who in 1950 took a famous cinefilm of 2 UFOs passing behind a water tower in Montana? What was the name of the person who took the footage?
Pass.
Nicholas Mariana. Question 5. What is the name of the radar specialist, famous radar specialist or air traffic controller who was involved in the very famous 1952 Washington flyovers? He was the top person in the air traffic control who went public.
Pass.
Harry Barnes witnessed UFOs on his screens for 9 hours. He was the top guy in there and he said it was anonymous. Okay. Name the captain involved in the classic 1954 BOAC, which was a flight company of the time, encounter. What was his name? Classic 1954, British captain's name.
Don't know. Pass.
Captain James Howard. Incorrect. Question 7. What is the place, the name of the place in Brazil where several alien creatures were allegedly captured? There's a particular one-word name. The name of the place,
It's not
the
on
town
there.
in Brazil. Varginha.
One of them was
Several-
caught on in the net, I think it was.
It's one of the most famous cases in the world. Incorrect. Question 8. What was the name of the senior US officer who started... Ryan Andretti. What was the name of the senior US officer who basically said that the best UFO reports did not go into Project Blue Book, which was the official? What was the name of that senior military officer?
Pass.
Brigadier General Bollander. It's called the Bollander Memo. And he basically said it was a good sighting, it didn't go in Blue Book, but the world was led to believe it did. Okay? Right, final question. What is the name given to the 4-month military investigation in the Colares region of the Amazon? So this is the Brazilian military investigation, the name of the report. It was known as... And I'll accept 2 answers. One in Portuguese, one in English.
Is it on an island or is it actually in the Amazon?
You can't repeat the question and ask for more
Sorry,
time.
yeah, I don't know. Pass.
Right, the answer is, in Portuguese, it was Operation Prato. Portuguese word being saucer, apparently. Project Saucer. So, incorrect. At the end of that round, you scored 1 point. And when we add that to your 3 points from the first round, we have 3 plus 1, 4 points. Thank you. Number 4. And here we go. Are you ready? Sitting comfortably? Right, okay. In what year was the famous Whitted Chills, that's 2 pilots, Charles Whitted Chills report, where they saw what they described as a 100-foot circular, cylindrical object with a row of windows, no wings? What year?
56.
Incorrect, 1948. What was the name given to the... I'll rephrase this question. Right, in what year were the famous Washington sightings? And I want the month and the year.
December 61.
July 1952. They occurred over 2 successive weekends. Okay. Right. What was the name of the New Zealand pilot? And it's Australian pilot, it's my error. Australian pilot who disappeared whilst on a flight where he had an alleged encounter in 1978.
Yeah. He was a young guy, wasn't he? He was flying to Tasmania.
Correct.
I think, was his name Mansell or something?
Klaus Frederick Valentich. Incorrect. Complete the name of this senior officer who's involved in running at one time Project Blue Book? Major Hector,
Is it Hilkencotter?
Hillencotter,
Yes.
no. Quantanilla, Major Hector Quantanilla. Timing. Right. Who, in 1996, went on Newsnight, BBC Two Newsnight, and said in unequivocal terms, I believe that some UFOs are extraterrestrial. Unequivocal. I believe in ET. Name that person.
Bill Clinton?
Nick Pope. The only time he ever said it, 1996. It's there on YouTube. And I personally think he said it to be welcomed into the UFO community for disinformation ever since. In the nicest possible way. I've had dinner with him several times. I've told him this. Right? What is the name given to the fibrous substance seen floating to the ground or in the air, sometimes after a close proximity sighting? It's got a name.
Is it angel hair?
Correct. Okay. I want the precise dates of the RFI incident. They began on which date and they ended on which date. So the block, first to the fifth, second to the, that kind of thing.
26, 27, 28th December 1980.
Correct. Well done. How many paragraphs does the Holt Memorandum contain?
I think it's only 2 pages long, so I guess 5?
3 paragraphs only, but it's a 1-page document, but it is one of the most famous documents in the world. Okay, so incorrect. Okay. Which recent astronaut who spoke publicly on UFOs recently passed away?
Edgar Mitchell.
Correct. The end of that round. You've got 1, 2, 3, 3 questions. Correct. When we add it to contestant number 4, 6 and 3 equals 9. You have 9 points. Scores on the doors. Eyes down. Contestant number 1 with 8 and 5. 13 points. Woo! Contestant number 2 with 10 and 3. 13 points. Contestant number 3 with 3 and 1. 4 points. Contestant number 4 with 6 and 3, 9 points. So shock horror, my worst case timing disaster, there's a tie. So that means we have to have tie questions. Not tie as in the Thailand, but the tie questions. Right, so, Colin, please take the seat. Pass the microphone. No pressure. Nice trophy that. No pressure. Right. What is the name of the physicist who gave testimony in person, first hand, at the congressional hearings of 1968? The name of the person.
Phantom Freedom?
Incorrect. He did actually give written evidence towards it, but it was actually in person, James MacDonald. So take a seat, please. In succession, what were the 3 project names that the US Air Force did between 48 and 69? Although some people might say 1970. What were the 3 project names? The US Air Force.
Project Sign, Project Grudge, and Project Blue Book.
Correct. We have a winner. Whoa, stand up. Whoa, well done. Congratulations. Right, here we go. Hold that pen. Make yourself useful. Right, okay, hold that. Right, here we go. Got to think on your feet here. Right, did you enjoy that? Is it worth doing every year? Is there a lot of information that's made you think that you didn't know? All that information is factual and it's out there. So whilst there's a bit of a laugh, this is all pretty basic stuff if you research the subject. None of it is poppycock, silly, sceptical stuff. These are genuine questions from the history of UFOs. There are some very good books out there. So if you really want to get into it, by giving the answers, hopefully it's, if you think, God, I want to find out about that. Why is that? Right, so we have a winner. Congratulations. There is your trophy. And I'm going to come to the front here, and we'll have our official photographer. Bigger round than that, it's not easy south here. If you take your seats again, please. Thank you for taking part. Believe me, most people run a mile when they stand in front of an audience.